Hello and welcome to another edition of Around the Kitchen Table with Tullahoma's Entrepreneurs. I'm Lane Curley, the longtime part-time mayor of Tullahoma. As you may know, every year I introduce a different community initiative, things like Go Green Tullahoma, Get Fit Tullahoma, the Tourism Council, and others. Well, this year I decided to do something a little different, and so we're going to be focusing on entrepreneurs this year in Tullahoma. So what's an entrepreneur? Entrepreneurs are the makers, the doers, the hustlers, the risk takers, and the dreamers. They often bring a vibrancy to a community. They turn ideas into reality, and they create jobs. These are the founders who invest their own blood, sweat, and often tears. Oftentimes their ideas start around a kitchen table, just like this one, and they grow from here. We have hundreds of successful entrepreneurs in Tullahoma. We need to welcome, encourage, and celebrate our entrepreneurs. It's important we support our entrepreneurs. A goal of mine is to make Tullahoma Tennessee's rural entrepreneurial capital and the city of opportunity and innovation. So why are we around the kitchen table? Believe it or not, that's where many business ideas are created and nurtured. Some ideas then move to a garage or perhaps a small office or a storefront, and the business is off and running. So each week I want to introduce you to a new Tullahoma entrepreneur, someone that has put his or own money at risk and is now an entrepreneur. Joining us this week around our kitchen table is Tullahoma entrepreneur and new business owner Scott McCain. Scott and his wife are the owners of For the Win Cigar Shop and Lounge in downtown Tullahoma. Scott started his new business after a career in the automotive logistics business. Entrepreneurs often look for niches in the market that are not being served, and they start businesses to serve this underserved customers. So I'm anxious to learn more about Scott and what motivated him to start For the Win Cigar Shop and Lounge, and more about the business itself. So welcome, Scott.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad you're here. So let's start out. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you indicated, I spent most of my career, 25 years in the automotive industry. That's pretty much been where I've understood the dynamics of customer support, customer service, working with all different facets of individuals, and that kind of led me into wanting to pursue this passion of opening my business of For the Win.
Yeah. So tell us about your education background.
Yes, sir. So I have a 2-year degree in mechanical engineering from Purdue University, and my 4-year degree in management is from Indiana Wesleyan. So we're originally from Indiana. I've been here for 6 years.
Yeah. So walk us through, in a little detail, nothing proprietary, I understand, but walk us through how you made the decision to open a business and how you chose this particular business.
Yes, sir. So I've always had an interest of opening up my own business and trying to understand what that niche was, what was really important. So a lot of my wife's travels have always been that we look for a cigar lounge on our travels all over the United States. Okay. And I would go in there and I would actually look at the atmosphere, look at how people were received, looked how it was just an opportunity there for them just to relax. And so I had that mindset, and then after I got an opportunity to retire from the automotive industry, my wife basically said, you know, you've been wanting to do this for 20 years, now's your opportunity. Our child's out of college now, so now is the right opportunity. So that was kind of our focal direction on what we wanted to do. Yeah.
So I talked in the introduction about filling a niche. To the best of my knowledge, there's never been anything like your shop in Tullahoma.
Yes, that's correct.
So what you're trying, you listened and you decided to open up a business.
Yes, sir. So what our mindset was that we wanted to create a premier destination for downtown Tullahoma. We looked for an opportunity, and not to be cliche, but I believe that it was almost like a God thing, that I reached out to somebody that I said, I want to open up this business. I've heard that you have space that's available in the downtown avenues. And Christy and Randy reached back to me after I left my job with Nissan. And I kind of chuckled and I said, I have this idea that I want to open up this business in one of your shops, and it's a cigar shop and lounge. And she kind of chuckled and she goes, about 2 weeks ago, somebody approached me on this exact same thing, that Tullahoma was ready for something like this. So I was familiar with the surrounding areas, and it was just something that everybody had to either drive to Huntsville or Murfreesboro to be able to come back and enjoy a location and a good cigar. So it was just a wonderful situation and a great venture with Randy and Christy to be able to move into that location. Yeah. That's how we found our niche.
Yeah. So what have been your biggest challenges so far, Scott?
I would say getting our name out there. Not everybody, when everybody comes in, we do get the wow factor when they come into our lounge. It is an amazing setting, but everybody is not completely familiar that we're there. We've only been open for about a month and a half now, but getting them into the door, then we get that repeat customer. But basically getting our name out there and for others to actually understand what we're about and what we offer.
Yeah. So how do you describe your lounge? I've heard you describe it, but I want you to tell our viewers how you describe it.
So when my wife and I, Wendy, when we decided that we were actually going to open this up, we wanted to present a speakeasy, basically like a Rat Pack location that it kind of takes you back in time where things were slower, things were quieter, and you come in and we have dark colors that adorn the walls. We have old classic cigar photos, classic sports memorabilia, and leather chairs. It just becomes like if you're going to imagine your own man cave in your home, that's what our destination is. Yes, sir.
Well, as you know, I stopped by the other day.
Yes, sir.
Got some video. So let's watch the monitor here as Randy shows the video that we showed. I want you to describe, first of all, your location.
Yes, so we're at 110 West Lincoln Street. As you can see, the downtown avenues, we're right next to Clayton's. Kind of walking through our shop there, we've got 5 televisions. You can see some of the furniture, our displays. We have accessories that are in there. We've been fortunate enough to pair with Old Shed, so we have craft beer on tap here from Tullahoma. Those are the display cases of our cigars that we offer. We have a capacity right now of 8,000 cigars. As I mentioned before, 5 TVs. There are private viewing areas where 2 people or 3 people can come in and kind of if they want to come in and work for the day, they can just enjoy a quiet atmosphere or maybe a little music on the background. But we really try to create an atmosphere that everyone is welcome.
So you mentioned 8,000 cigars.
Yes, sir.
I think that's difficult for most of us to comprehend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Kind of got me doing a little cleanup duty there, doing a little work. But this is one of the back rooms. This is a smaller, it's a 2-person seat. As we go back into this area here, this is what I call my champions room. There's plenty of seating back in there for guests. We've got a 65-inch television back there, and the plan is to put a fireplace, electric fireplace in there to create some additional ambiance. As you can see, looking at additional of the chairs that we've got, but it's just a destination where you can come and celebrate the day and enjoy everything that you've accomplished each day when you get up every day.
Yeah.
And then this would be walking into a little bit, it's a 9x13, it's a 3-seating room where we kind of offer some of our Rocky Patel and our Perdomo signs that are in there, but it's just, we have lights that can dim, so it creates a nice mood atmosphere that we established.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah, very interesting.
Thank you.
So, you know, I think a lot of folks probably have a conception that an entrepreneur shows up 5 minutes before the doors open, they lock up the door when it's time to go home.
Yes, sir.
Walk us through what a typical day for you is like, particularly getting this business up and going.
Yes, sir. So we open up at 11 o'clock. So I try to be there anywhere from 10:15 to 10:30. I go through and just make sure all my inventories are where they need to be. I straighten everything up. I go through, dust the furniture, making sure that you know, first impressions are lasting impressions. So I want to go through, I make sure that everything is set up, everything is perfect, and set up for when the customer comes in. I have to spend that time making sure that I have the right inventories, making sure that everything is working properly, just getting everything set up. So that's how I, probably the first half hour before we open up, that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make sure that we're ready. And then throughout the day, you know, I'm going to meet everybody with a handshake once they come in. I want them to feel welcome once they come in. We want to make sure that every lounge is full, so I take the time to make sure that I greet everyone, make sure they have everything that they need, cleaning the ashtrays, making sure that everything is presentable for everybody, and making sure there's many times that we're going to have individuals that are going to come in and they may just be first-time cigar smokers. So I'll walk them through and kind of give them a tutorial of what we offer. Maybe they smoke something different than we have, but walk them through and let them understand, maybe I don't have what they want, but I think that I have something that would actually be able to change their mind from the cigar lines that we carry. And then carry that out throughout the day, and then obviously the cleanup at the end of the day, making sure everything is set up and tidy and taking care of the necessary day-to-day activities.
Yeah. So successful entrepreneurs are very customer-oriented,
Yes, sir.
I think.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Now, I've also heard you describe that you want your lounge to be where someone has enjoyed a nice meal somewhere in town.
Yes, sir.
For them to come in and describe that experience. Why is that important?
Well, we want to partner with all the different restaurants and the establishments that are there. So we want our destination to be a lounge. We don't allow cigarette smoking. We don't want food in there because it does not blend well with the cigar smoke. So we want people to come in and engage, have a nice meal. Maybe they go to 122 or London's, then they come over and that's kind of like their nightcap. They come in, enjoy a nice cigar for an hour and a half, and have a couple refreshments while they're there. So it becomes a destination that before or after that you spend the time in our wonderful town of Tullahoma, that they want to come back and they enjoy before or after what they've done throughout the day.
Yeah. You mentioned Tullahoma just now. Why did you choose Tullahoma?
Well, in a way, Tullahoma chose me. We come from Indiana, and our town that we lived in Indiana was very, very similar to Tullahoma. So it was a natural fit for us. We loved the environment. We loved the community. We loved everything that it offered. So it was an easy choice for us to want to make this home. And 6 years ago, when we came in here, we fell in love with it, and it was a perfect fit.
Yeah, good. So let's talk about the future for just a minute.
Yes, sir.
Where do you see your business 5 years from now?
Well, 5 years, we continue to try to expand. So we're in phase 1 right now of our business. Phase 2 is actually going to expand into a walk-in humidor. So that will allow me 1,300 cubic feet of additional space. We listen to our customers on maybe the different cigar lines that they like that we may not be able to carry. So we extend that to them, listen to what they want. I would love to just maybe one of these days expand, that we open up a second shop, maybe down in the south in Florida or something like that. But we just want to grow our business that we have and make it the best business that we can.
Yeah. You mentioned just now growing your business.
Yes, sir.
How are you growing your business?
To try to get my name out there, one of the things that I have to do is I do remotes. So I do a lot of things with our local country club that I do cigars and guitars. So we do that once a month with them. Okay. We have music that's there. We provide cigars. I've done stuff with Beans Creek Winery that I've met out there. And just basically getting our name out, shaking hands with everybody, let them know the product that we're actually selling, and to come back and get them to understand, if I can convince them to meet me at this location, then they're going to come back and they're going to see what a wonderful destination we have downtown is.
Right. So it's a pretty big step from logistics or supply chain, automotive business, to now owning your own lounge. What prepared you from your previous work for this line of work and to be an entrepreneur? Well,
it was, as I mentioned before, it's customer service. It's meeting with suppliers. It's meeting with vendors. It's dealing with the individuals that work for me. So you have different personalities. So everybody has to be greeted. You have to approach everybody in a different fashion. As we talked about, that I have people that are been smoking cigars for a long time. I have people that have never smoked before. So understanding and reading those individuals that come into the shop, that has really prepared me. And being a people person has enabled me to reach out to those folks and get an understanding of what they're about and what they like. And you just want everyone to feel comfortable once you come in. So I think understanding, in coming from the automotive industry, dealing with different facets of individuals and customers and things like that has actually allowed me to turn that into something that I do on my own.
Yeah, I can understand that. And one thing we've not discussed, but I think it's important to make clear, how do you charge for it? Do you charge people to come into your shop, to your lounge?
No, sir. Okay. It's free to come in. You come in and hopefully I can turn you on to a good cigar. We offer for individuals that don't want craft beer, we do offer sodas and coffees. We've partnered with Templar Sports, that they've created their own coffee line that's made here by Raphael's. So we have 3 different lines of coffee that we present. It's just been a great partnership with Rich on that, because he turns around around and takes a portion of those profits and actually gives them back to veteran families, maybe to buy them groceries or things like that. So it's just those opportunities that we have worked together, and we want to try to keep everything we can as local as possible. And that's kind of how we give back also.
Yeah. So I was not aware that you had so many partnerships, but as an entrepreneur, I suspect most entrepreneurs will realize it's critical to establish partnerships along the way.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Networking is very, very critical. Yep. You have to be able to surround yourself by good people and be able to understand and help each other and work together.
Yeah. So in your business, what does success look like to you?
Success is when I have a repeat customer comes in. Yeah. When somebody leaves and wants to come up to me after they've enjoyed some time in the shop, and they shake my hand and just tell me that I never believed that Tullahoma could have something like this. I never believed that we could create an atmosphere like this. And to me, that's success. I love it when somebody tells me that this was one of the greatest nights that I've had. To me, that is success, and having that repeat customer come back.
Good for you.
Thank you.
That is exciting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So. Your company slogan.
Yes, sir.
And what does that mean to you, and how did you arrive?
Yes, so for the win, I actually kind of stole it from a buddy of mine. He actually had that on his license plate.
You don't have to tell all your stories.
Well, it's something that I'm very, very proud of. He was it kind of stems from For the Win. Michael Jordan shooting for the win, Tiger Woods putting for the win. So we've taken that motto and turned that back into celebrating the day. So if you finish a business day, you close a deal, whether it be selling a house or bringing in a brand new customer, you're going to come into the shop and you're going to win the day. Right. So that's basically what it's about. I want people to celebrate every single day that they get up. We've got to win the day, and that's what's the most important thing to me, is that you get that opportunity and you're going to come in here and it was for the win. So like I said, maybe your daughter graduated from college, your kid graduated from high school, you're going to win the day.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Thank you.
Good story. So what do you see as your greatest challenge now moving forward?
The greatest challenge would probably be continue to grow, to get our name out there. Customer service. I mean, you're going to have plenty of people that are going to like what you do, but there could be somebody that may not like what it's about. They may not be fully understanding what cigar smoking is about or what the drinking is about with what we do in our shop. But if we can get that individual that may question what we're about, to get them to come back and understand, and that would be a big challenge, because I mean it's easy to win business, but one time you maybe get some negative publicity, and trying to make sure that you can correct that and make sure that those individuals that you can help them out and get them to understand it.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
So let's now drill down a little bit into Scott McCain.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because the people that are watching this, that are considering entrepreneurism, I want them to get a sense for what you're about and how you went through this. So do you consider yourself to be a lifelong learner? And if so, how do you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that you have to learn every single day, and no matter what industry that you're in. You've got to be able to read. You have to be able to listen to corrective criticism. You have to be able to listen to the individuals that you surround yourself with. Once you stop learning is the time that you may have to move on to something else. But you have to be a lifelong learner, and so that you can grow. Once we stop learning, you kind of lose that passion.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So this is interesting. How do you define yourself in 3 words?
Passionate, customer-oriented, and I would say goal-oriented.
Yeah. So describe, you're passionate about your business. How important is passion to your business?
You got to love it. You have to love whatever you decide to do, whatever that business venture that you take on. You got to love it, because you have to be able to get up every single morning and put your shoes on and go out to work. If you don't love what you're doing, you're gonna struggle to get up every single day. So you have to love what you do. You have to be passionate about what you do. You can't just think about it as a financial perspective. It has to be something that is ingrained in you, that you love, and you can give that. Then it becomes natural to be able to give back to your customers that come in. You have to be passionate about whatever it may be.
Yeah, very good. Now, your second was customer oriented.
Yes, sir.
You've given us many good examples of that. You're very customer oriented. But from an entrepreneurial standpoint, how do you see yourself as being customer oriented?
It's my ability to, to listen to what they are asking for, understand what they need. So you have to have an open mind. You just can't be completely focused on what you may think is the best or what you may think is the worst. You have to have that open mind about them and understand and be able to convince them, to understand what you want to present them with. So you have to basically see the big picture is what I'm trying to say is to understand. You see the big picture of what your customer wants, what an individual wants, what your market dictates.
Okay. Have you had to pivot at any point through this process?
Not yet. Okay. Not yet. Because I believe that the 3 lines that we brought in were very successful, that they kind of stood on their own. So we have not had to, but we keep getting the questions about, are you going to bring in another different line? So we listen to that and we try to know that's going to be part of our growth.
Sure.
Yes.
And the third that you mentioned, that you're goal-oriented as well. That's how you describe yourself. Give us an example as how, as an entrepreneur, it's important to be goal-oriented.
But you have to establish a business plan. I mean, that's the number one thing that you have to do to start any business. And to set those goals for yourself, what you have to do, you have to be able to rely on the ebbs and flows of a business, because you're not going to hit target every single day. There's going to be days that you're going to do better than the others, and you just have to stay constant, stay true to yourself, believe in your product, believe in what your business market and your strategy is, and follow those goals and set those goals that you attain. So look at larger goals. You can have daily goals, you can have monthly, and you can have annual goals. So you set those different targets for yourself and you drive towards that. Yeah. If you don't hit those goals, then you have to understand what do you need to do to make those adjustments to make yourself successful.
Yeah. Well, I can see you're very vision oriented as well, and very goal oriented, and that is critical.
Thank you.
So, what have you learned from the past 10 years that you now think you're a better person because you've learned this over time?
I think like anything else, I think it's maturity. You learn to understand yourself a lot more. 10 years ago, I probably had a different vision. I probably had a different dream than what I wanted, but stay constant, stay true to yourself, and believe in those things that you want. I mean, it's definitely a maturity factor that as you age, you grow, and you understand what's important. So probably I would just say that I understood myself, and I understand what my boundaries were, and I focused on that and was able to drive forward with understanding myself and those boundaries.
Yeah, good. So describe work-life balance to you.
Work-life,
and how do you maintain it?
Yeah, work-life family balance is critical. In my prior industry, that was critical. You need to be able to spend time with your family. You need to be able to, you spend enough time with your coworkers on a day-to-day basis, but you have to be able to balance. Work is critical, but if you're going to work all the time, then you're not going to be able to play. So you have to be able to. My father-in-law, basically had a saying that we work to recreate. So that's how we've always had that belief that how you balance your work, balance your family, and make sure that you make the time for them, because you just can't work all the time and not be able to reap the rewards. Yeah. So in my industry now, it's difficult because I'm the only owner-operator. So, but we take advantage of our Sundays. That's where we sit down for meals together. We make sure we go to church as a family, and we focus on that immediate time that we have. And then as we grow, we know that we'll have more time. So you got to plan those vacations. You got to plan those downtime so you can rejuvenate. So that's why it's important to have good work-life family balance.
And I distinctly remember at your ribbon cutting, you gave a great deal of attribution to your success to your wife.
Yes.
That was very nice.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. If you got to surround yourself by good people, and if you don't have a good supporting cast, it's going to be difficult for anybody to be successful in this world.
Right. So she, in fact, she's watching your shop right now.
Yes, sir. She is. Right. She's taking care of the reins. Yes, sir.
So Scott, what do you consider to be your biggest business talent?
It still goes back. I mean, I've I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it still comes back to customer service. Sure. From my 25 years in the automotive industry, I understand inventory. I understand how to make sure that I manage the numbers, that I understand the inventory that I have. We're not a museum, so things that don't sell, we need to be able to move those. So our job is to move that inventory. Yeah. So those are the things that from my prior is that I've focused on those talents that I had from my prior work experience and implemented that in to make sure that we have a good product that sells, and if it doesn't, then we need to move to something else.
Who has been a big influence in your life?
It would have to be probably my grandparents. My grandparents they've run their own business. They were farmers. Understanding what they do on a day-to-day basis. I mean, they gave me the baseline for me to be successful and what it was like to have a good marriage and a good friendship and that good baseline.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
So speaking of advice, if you had 100 individuals here that were considering being entrepreneurs, what advice would you give them?
Be willing to take the leap. You can't fail unless you try.
Right.
That's the most important thing. Surround yourself by a good networking team. Surround yourself by a good supporting cast, and don't be afraid to fail, because one way or another we all fail every single day. Right. But be willing to take that step forward.
Yeah. So a couple of things again, just to get to know you a little bit better as an individual. What can we always find in your refrigerator?
Hot sauce, spaghetti, and I love spaghetti.
Yeah, sure.
And probably orange juice. Yeah, you'll always find those three things in mine.
Yeah. So, what celebrity would you love to meet?
Sam Elliott. I've always been a big fan of everything, the movies that Sam Elliott does. I love what he stands for. I mean, he's a true American. He's a true cowboy, and I just think that meeting him, sitting down, and having a couple beers with him, and just talking about his accomplishments in life, I think would just be amazing. Yeah.
So, what book are you reading now?
Well, I'm reading a book that's called David and Goliath: how to beat and how to conquer the internet giants. So there's supposed to be ways of try to 100 different tips on marketing strategies and stuff like that.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So vacation.
Yes, sir. Favorite spot: New Smyrna Beach, Florida. When it's time for me to retire, that's where I would love to be. I always joked with my daughter that after she finished college that she can buy me a condo in New Smyrna Beach, Florida when she's all said and done, when she's successful. But that's definitely where we would love to be. So yes, sir.
Well, it's a good way to end. Vacation's always a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you spending some time with us around this kitchen table, learning more about you and your business.
Absolutely.
We're very proud for your success. We hope you have continued success. And if there's any entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs out there, hopefully this is giving you some insight as to, as we've spotlighted Scott and For the Win Cigar Shop and Lounge, to give you some insight as to what it takes to be an entrepreneur. So good luck, and hope to see you around the kitchen table soon. Thank you.